Hello friends, welcome to another Drafting with Numot, and we have a special treat here. This is the most degenerate draft format that I've ever played. The decks are going to be more akin to broken, even more broken than regular vintage decks a lot of the times. This is Supreme Vintage Cube Draft. What that means is you're not drafting with other players, it's just you. Every time you get a pack, it is a new pack of 15 cards, and every pack you take 2 cards out of. So you're making 2 first picks out of a 15 card pack, and you do that 18 separate times. And this is the vintage cube format. There are duplicates. I've already played this format a bunch on stream. You can have multiple of the same piece of power. I've had decks with 3 time walks, 5 mocks, stuff like that. And really, there's only one true deck to do in the format, and that's the blue deck. Cards like Force of Negation are fantastic here, and Dak Faden is one of the better planeswalkers. So you'll notice that a lot of the cards that would normally look good in this format are just not anywhere close to playable. So it's Force of Negation, Dak Faden here for me, and then Misty Rainforest and Probe as the secondaries. Creature-based decks usually don't work, as you can see here. Our next pack has Ancestral Recall, Seagate Stormcaller, Channel. So we're easily going to take the Ancestral, and I'm probably going to take the Stormcaller here instead of the Channel as well. Again, it's very, very hard not to get a deck with like 3, 4, 5 plus good artifacts. You know, any number of mocks, mana vaults, mana crypts, that type of thing. Like, you're often not even paying attention to signets and cards like Thran Dynamo because they're just too slow in comparison. So, Stormcaller here. Next pack for us has like a Gitaxian Probe and maybe the Tendrils if I want to consider Storm, but just not enough of these cards are playable. At least in my experience of this format, if you're not playing blue, like I said earlier, you're probably doing it wrong. I'm going to go ahead and take the Tendrils here just because Treachery is rather weak in this format as well. And there is, of course, the possibility of building a good Storm deck. And yeah, I mean, here's the next pack here for us. We're going to take this Mox Emerald for sure. And maybe the Tundra. Fixing is always great. There are some number of white cards you're going to want to splash for, most namely Teferi, as, well, making it so your opponent can't interact with your broken spells is obviously quite good. So easy Mox Emerald here, and probably Tundra for me. As we go to the next pack, this one doesn't have any power, but it does have some good cards. There's a secondary Tundra here. There's a 1,000-Year Storm. Night's Whisper is like okay. Thassa's Oracle is okay. Honestly, this is pretty weak overall. I'll go ahead and take Tundra and maybe the Oracle. Like something like Bolt, just again, not very good in this format. Although there are a few creatures that you absolutely need to kill. So there's a card called Hull Breacher, which is a 3-mana, 3/2 flash in blue that whenever your opponent would draw a card, except for the first card that they draw on their turn, you instead get a treasure, so it's completely busted in half. I think for fun's sake, I'm going to take the 1,000-Year Storm to go along with the Tundra. Or maybe even just take the Bolt to go along with the 1,000-Year Storm now, but this is not my main plan. Pretty easy Soul Ring now here. And I guess we can probably take the Thassa's Oracle. I don't think Expansion Explosion would be that bad of a pickup as well. Some of the really high pickups you're looking for in this format, because you often end up with so much fast mana, are any of the Draw 7 effects. So Wheel of Fortune, Time Twister, Time Spiral, even Commit to Memory. Those type of cards are very, very good. Oh, I still get one more card of this pack, that's right. So yeah, I think we can take the Oracle as a backup win con. There's a Mana Crypt, and speaking of, there is one of those Draw 7s. To go along with the Draw 7s, of course, you want to take cards like Narset. I think Narset is oftentimes better than Power in these kind of packs. Similarly, Leovold, the aforementioned Hole Breacher, and yeah, so we'll continue down this most busted route, taking the Crypt and the Twister. Wow, we are seeing a ton of duplicates of some of the same cards, but remember that is this format. This is Supreme Vintage Cube. You make 2 picks, every pack is a fresh 15. You see multiples of cards, so I suppose this shouldn't be that surprising. I mean, this is not very good for us. I don't think I need to take a 3rd Tundra here. I think I'm going to take another Seagate Stormcaller in case we get some number of Time Walks. It's already good with Ancestral. And I mean, I guess the Boros Signet is like fine, though I'd rather have Expansion Explosion. Okay, look at this. And now we get a 2nd Ancestral Recall and a 2nd Mox Emerald now. So yeah, this is, I mean, exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sad to pass a Mindslaver. I'm sad to pass a Lion's Eye Diamond, and even Trinket Mage is fine, but kind of hard to pass these babies. Rather weak pack here, although Mystical Tutor is an easy pickup in this kind of format. For sure, it already can grab Ancestral Recalls, it can grab Time Twister. I think this secondary card we're going to take here is the Chalice, maybe? But for sure taking the Tutor, and I guess Chalice is okay, though not amazing. Okay, there's another draw 7 in the form of Wheel of Fortune, and we have a Thieving Skydiver here. Again, everybody is going to have power. That's almost guaranteed, and with so many Moxen running around, the Thieving Skydiver is oftentimes just a backbreaker. A very good creature. So let's take the draw 7 and the Thieving Skydiver. And now we got ourselves a Mox Pearl and another Time Twister. I really need to find the Hole Breacher or Narset right now, because we have 3 draw 7s and we don't have the ways to fully abuse them. Although, I mean, even just with this much fast mana, you know, it's not hard to. Mox Ruby and Teferi. Monastery Mentor is another really good win condition, but I found that Teferi is just an absolute must, so let's take the Fairy. Let's take the Ruby. A 3rd Mind Twist now. Or rather, Time Twister. Volcanic Island seems like a pretty easy pickup. This is pack 14, so we still have 5 packs left. I mean, I suppose you can't really go wrong with another Time Twister. I think Mind Twist is fantastic, but I don't have any black fixing right now. In fact, I have a lot of green fixing because I have the double Emerald, but let's take the Volcanic, and I'm still going to take a 3rd Time Twister. Channel, Volcanic, Hollowed Fountain, Time Warp. Man, I wish that was Time Walk. It'd be so much better with our Stormcallers. This could just be a Volcanic Island and Hollowed Fountain instead of taking like Tutor and Time Warp. I don't think that's crazy. Kind of trying to debate here. I guess the lands are probably good. Let's see. I have 8, so I'm at like 18 playables. I guess I still need to take a few playables. Never mind. We'll definitely take the Time Warp still. And I guess I'm fine taking a Volcanic here over the 2nd Mystical. Okay, there is a Soulfire Grandmaster, which is not bad. We don't have the Time Walk to go along with it, but we do have Time Warp, so that's going to take 9 mana, but that's not too hard to do. So I think Soulfire is probably a good choice. Given that we have 3 Time Twisters, the Dig Through Time is actually rather weak, because we do not want to be exiling a lot of these cards. Like, we don't want to be exiling Ancestrals, for example. So it's going to be either Geist as a good clock, or like Click. The interaction of the click seems good for sure. But in this format, a lot of people aren't even taking creature interaction. And they're not playing many creatures oftentimes, so the Geist Cat could just be a very fast clock. But I think I'm going to take the hand disruption. Here we have what? This is our second to last pack, so we get like a Frantic Search here and maybe Chain Lightning. I don't want any tap lands. I think those are too weak. And Chain Lightning goes with the 1,000-Year Storm, so that seems okay. Yeah, Frantic Search, Chain Lightning. And last pack for us, another Volcanic, another Hollowed. We have an Urza, that's a good pickup. So honestly, it's just the Double Mox Emerald that aren't on color. 7, 8, 9. I'm at 23, so I'm at a good number of playables right now. I guess we could take Fire Blast in theory, or just the Manamorphose. Manamorphose pretty strong with Seagate Stormcaller, and it's good for 1,000-Year Storm. Let's do that. Let's take the Urza and the Manamorphose here. And we have a pretty fun-looking deck. Not the best deck I've drafted in this format by any means, but as you can see, this is the kind of stupidness that can occur. Yeah, so let's take a look. We're at 25. A card that might not be worth it here is like the Thassa's Oracle. With the triple Time Twister, we're never really going to deck ourselves. So I think we just cut the Oracle, run these, and then call it a day. So in the end, we picked up 2 Emeralds, a Mox Pearl, a Mox Ruby, 2 Ancestral Recalls, 3 Time Twisters. Not bad. Oh, you know what I didn't get? I didn't get what I was talking about. I didn't get the any of the card negation, the card draw. I didn't get Narset, I didn't get Hullbreacher, I didn't get Leovold. So that's a huge ouchie. Although I do think we're probably going to be able to better utilize a lot of the draw 7s than some of our opponents. But all right, let's take a look at this mana chop. We definitely want heavy, heavy blue here. In fact, it's possible I don't need any white or red sources. We always want to have access to like turn 1 Ancestral. So I get access to 7 lands here. I guess I could go 5/1/1. That's probably fine. Okay, and yeah, this is Supreme Vintage Cube Phantom Draft. Remember, a lot of your opponents are going to have very similarly powered decks. So yes, my deck looks busted for a draft format, but a lot of the other decks are going to be just as powerful, if not more powerful. So let's go to round 1, see how we do. Okay, here we are for this round 1 of this very degenerate, broken format. I'm on the play, and yeah, good enough to keep, for sure. So what we're going to do is go turn 1 Island Emerald pass, and on the opponent's upkeep, I'm going to Ancestral Recall myself. Doing that means it plays around Force of Negation, and yeah, just something that's very, very easy to do for little cost in this format. Like, obviously I could draw a bunch of 0s, but there aren't too many other spells that I could cast afterwards, not without extra blue mana, so. Draw a Seagate Stormcaller and a Mystical Tutor. So, would I like to Mystical Tutor for another Ancestral Recall on upkeep? Or do I want to wait? Because if... Oh man, I wish we had like a Tinker or something too. That would be nice to grab. I think we'll just probably pass here. Ooh, okay, there's a Black Lotus from the opponent. And they have a turn 1 play, apparently. Okay, Demonic Tutor, yes. The opponent might be doing more broken things than I am here, turn 1. I think we might just draw naturally for the turn, instead of immediately tutoring for another recall. Because there's the small possibility that I want to, like, tutor for Manamorphose to be able to Teferi here. That's fine. Alright, so they Demonic Tutored and they Time Walked. But all things considered, it could be much worse here for us. If they just go Island Pass, I'm going to assume that they have Counter Magic in their hand. They don't, though. They're going to Ancestral as well. Okay, I mean, look. Black Lotus, Demonic Tutor, Time Walk, Ancestral Recall. Like, now you see the power level of this format. Soul Ring, great draw. Okay, so let's play the Blue Source. Let's play the Soul Ring. And then we're just going to pass here. See what they do. They're probably putting me on having a counter in my hand, which I don't, so they might play a little bit conservatively as well. Okay, let's go ahead and EOT Mystical. Let's grab that second recall. Let's cast the Seagate Stormcaller, see if it resolves. It did. Let's draw 6 cards, why not? Well, all things considered, those weren't some very good hits. Play land, and I can't even do anything with the 3 mana? That's kind of nasty. So I guess I'm just passing here. Discarding 2 cards. Let's discard the secondary Stormgate, or Seagate. And then I think the Chain Lightning. So next turn I can play Mountain, play Teferi, holding up Expansion Explosion for a counter if they have one. And with Teferi on the battlefield, it just makes it so much nicer. Okay, Imperial Seal, so they're going to tutor for something and put it on top. That type of tutor is much worse in this format when things go so quickly. I mean, I don't have a super fast deck like I have had before, but sometimes just setting up for that is not good enough. Okay, they pass. Let's draw a card. Another pretty good draw. So what I actually kind of like doing here is playing out all my mana rocks and now playing out Urza, because Urza is going to give me access to even more blue mana. It turns my Mox Emerald into a Mox Sapphire in essence. And now we can tap, 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 play Teferi. Gush in response. That's fine. So they are probably on Storm then. Ooh, but Teferi just immediately resolved. Okay, so how much mana do I have access to now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we can bounce now our Mana Crypt and Time Warp. I cannot Time Warp. I don't have double blue. Yes, I do, with the Mana Morphos. I got a little bit lucky there. Oh, and the 1,000-Year Storm. That's pretty funny. Time Warp, targeting myself. They have floating mana, but remember, because I have the Teferi, they can't actually cast anything, so I'm not worried about that. Attack for 2, take our extra turn. And now we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. But honestly, I don't really have much to do. Could attack for 7, put him to 9, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then shoot him for 6. That doesn't do enough. Guess it might just be best to DAC first. Double loot. Okay, well, that's pretty darn good. And they just did a setup turn too, so we are 100% just going to go like this. Discard, discard, play the emerald, play the land, tap for blue, tap for 2, Twister. Okay, yeah. So they get a fresh grip, and we are popping off. Can I kill them this turn now? It's close. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. I guess we're gonna Frantic Search first to see what we draw. Probe and a land, so we can discard the land. We can discard the Soulfire. Untap, untap, untap. Let's probe them, see what's going on. Brazen, Collective, Grizzlebrand, Gush, Narset, Snapcaster. Okay, so their hand's really weak. I mean, I guess I can just double recall now. Once more. Tap Emerald for blue. Double recall. Play Mox Ruby. 7, 8, 9, 10. I can almost kill them here. Let's start off by a Mana Morphos. Add red and blue. I'm at 9 cards left in my library. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should have left the Thassa's Oracle in. Thassa's Oracle would actually win right now. Maybe I'm just very stupid for not leaving it in the deck. I guess that's Ancestral again, because if we hit our other Seagate Stormcaller, we just win. Did not, okay. Alright, well, let's just, I guess, Chain Lightning for 3 and then attack them for 10. And I need to discard 2 cards. And now we get to hold up Force of Negation, so we should be pretty safe here. Yeah, I definitely need to get that Seagate Oracle back in the deck. Or Thassa's Oracle, rather. This is for information purposes. But we're still just going to counter it for sure. Because we know they only got one draw for the turn, so. Pretty darn good. Alright, let's get that Oracle in after all. And maybe it's the Sylphire Grandmaster that shouldn't be in the deck. Like, with triple Time Twister, I don't think I'm going to be needing to buy back the recalls. I just get to draw them again every turn anyway, so. This hand's pretty weak. This hand's really weak to any disruption, but what it does is turn 1 tutor for a Time Twister, turn 2 Time Twister off the Pearl. I think that's probably fine to keep on the draw. They had a little bit of interaction, but not that much. So. Oh, well. Who needs to tutor for Time Twister when you can just draw the Time Twister? I guess it depends on what they do this turn. We might not even go for that play. Aha! So they are gonna do some Reanimator nonsense instead. I mean, that's not too surprising. We saw the Grizzlebrand, and indeed, there it is. Do they have the turn 2 way to reanimate it? They do. Okay, but this is the weaker way to reanimate. It's the Shallow Grave. So the Grizzlebrand's only going to stick around for a turn, which means they can draw a bunch of cards, but then I can just Time Twister that all away. So what we're probably going to end up doing here is tutoring for Gitaxian Probe. Yeah, tutoring for a Gitaxian Probe to check their hand before firing off the Twister, I think is the safe play. They only drew 7. They didn't draw 14, which is a little bit surprising, so maybe their hand is already really, really stacked. If they end up discarding a bunch of fat creatures for more reanimate, the Time Twister is going to shuffle it all back in, so that's nice. So they only have to, what, discard 4 here. And, oh, they are doing some kind of storm. Discarded Tendrils, Imperial Seal, Shallow Grave number 2, and a Baral. Okay, so let's fire off the probe. Make sure they don't have a Force of Will or something. They do not. So the coast is clear. And we even drew a Ruby. Excellent. I don't want to fire off the Chain Lightning, though. We'd rather hold up the 1 blue. Let's go ahead and get a fresh 7. And yeah, fantastic here. Play the Emerald. And again, going to probably just Ancestral on their draw step. Okay, and we drew a Force of Negation. Beautiful. Is this Mind Twist for 2? Ah. That's annoying. Okay, so they get to take one of my mocks here, and we can just tap it in response. But as far as turns are concerned, it's a lot weaker than my turn. As we draw another Time Twister. So let's start with a Frantic, getting rid of 2 white. That's a lot of draw 7s. We could Manamorphose, Expansion Manamorphose now. Seems like a cute play, maybe unnecessary, but I'm going to go for it. So let's add blue, red, and and blue, red. Alright, I guess I'm just gonna skydive back my Mox for the turn then. And just pass with Force of Negation available. Can't Force of Negation that because it's a creature. And we will happily trade if they attack. No plays though from them. We drew another Mox, so now is probably a good time to fire off the Twister. Let's do the dance again, shall we? Okay, now we found our Teferi. So let's resolve Teferi here before doing anything else. That's snap resolved, excellent. We can then Ancestral ourselves because we're not worried about counters. And let's Chain Lightning the Jace. And then uptick the Teferi and pass the turn with Force of Negation open. Now what do we want a Mystical Tutor for? Time Warp, maybe? Yeah, Time Warp makes sense. Oh, this might be Collective Brutality. Yeah, I'm going to have to counter a Collective Brutality. And they discarded Shallow Grave and Time Spiral. Okay. Let's get rid of Frantic Search here. Unfortunately, that permanently gets rid of the Frantic Search, but I think that's okay. So now, next turn, we upkeep Tutor, Time Warp, cast Time Warp, Ancestral ourselves, and then try to win the following turn. Absolutely trading here, because we do know they have Tendrils in their deck, so we don't want to lose to some random Storm nonsense. I don't know if they thought they were going to steal my artifact by Shallow Graving, because the kicker doesn't work unless you're casting. So a slight mistake there, but not a huge deal. It probably didn't matter. Alright, so let's grab Time Warp. Let's take an extra turn. Actually, I guess we want to see what we draw with Ancestral first. Okay. Yeah. So we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can Seagate Oracle into Mana Morphos, draw 2 cards, make 4 mana. Let's go blue, red. We could even Expansion Explosion the Mana Morphos if we wanted to, because this can't copy Time Warp, it's 4 or less. Do we want to do that just to cycle? I guess we might as well. Blue, red. Blue, blue. Crypt. Now we can probe. Brain Freeze, Chart a Course, Snapcaster Mage. All right. There's the Thassa's Oracle. Great. So let's play the Time Warp. Let's uptick the Teferi. Let's play a land. Pass. Hopefully we draw something here. Click. Not great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That does give us 2 loyalty, though, or devotion. So what I can do is I can click my own Mana Crypt away to draw another card. Or what I can also do is Thassa's Oracle, which will be a Scry 4. And then bounce the Oracle with Thassa to draw the card that we see. And that's perfect. Wait. Yeah, we keep the Wheel of Fortune on top. We bounce the Oracle. We draw the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, no, this doesn't work! What am I doing? I can't Wheel of Fortune and then play the Oracle somehow. It's in my hand still. Whoops. Well, I took the wrong card. I should have taken Dak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, darn it. Well, that's awkward, isn't it? And they have a Brain Freeze in their hand to potentially kill me? Oh, the mistakes. I mean, I have 2 more Time Twisters. I could just Wheel of Fortune. It's just super awkward to give them another fresh hand. Do I have more ways to return the Oracle to my hand? Just the 1 Dak. Alright, well, I messed this one up big time, so I guess I'm just going to wheel and keep spinning. Had the win, but messed it up. Okay, there's the 1,000-Year Storm. Play the land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're just going to 1,000-Year Storm here. Oh, sorry, Time Twister here. We're spinning so many wheels, but this format is nuts, that's for sure. Hey, okay, and now we can take an extra turn. All right, see? It worked out. Everything worked out in the end. Do as I say, not as I do. Something like that. Okay, now we should be able to win. 16 cards left in our deck, so let's start off by Seagate Stormcallaring. Double Ancestraling, drawing 6. And if I can't win from here, then I've definitely done something wrong. Beautiful. All right. Now we can, for example, just tutor for our other ancestral. Probe them, draw the ancestral ourselves. Doesn't matter what they have. And then cast our Oracle. Right? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I have to play like Dak first or something? Sure. Dak, draw 2 cards. Why not? And then Oracle. Okay, we did it. I might have made 500 mistakes, but I mean, again, this is a completely degenerate format, so Yeah, you're going to see a lot of that type of thing. Well, let's make sure to cut the Grandmaster and put the Oracle in, and then we'll go to round 2. All right, here we are for round 2 of this Supreme Vintage Cube. We are once again on the play, and you can just not keep this type of hand in this format. It doesn't do anything, and it's way too slow. So mulligan to 6. Well, similarly, cannot keep a hand with only 1 mana source. But remember, I have 3 time spirals in my deck and 2 ancestrals, so mulliganing down is not an issue. He says as he sees another no mana source hand, and we're going to 4. And then you have this hand, right? Perfect. We keep Emerald, Tundra, Volcanic, Time Twister, and we're all set. Although, you know what? It might have actually been safer to keep the Mystical Tutor instead of the Time Twister in case the opponent has like a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Because the Volcanic, or rather the Mystical Tutor, I'd be able to do it in response. Well, now they know my secrets. Let's hope that they don't have a Spell Pierce or a counter spell in their hand. Because if this gets Spell Pierced, we are very much a sad panda. Have to go for it, though. Nice, and it's just instantly resolved. Perfect. And just like that, we are back in action, undid our mulligan, and have 2 more sources of mana than the opponent does currently. Do I want a Mystical Tutor for something on my upkeep? I could just grab another counter, or rather another Ancestral. But I think here instead what we want to do is Mystical Tutor for Force of Negation as a little bit of interaction. Draw it, play the Tundra, and pass. This will give us a little bit of security for anything busted that they might do next turn. Okay, they're playing Grixis colors. Would not be surprised to see some Mind Twist action. If they just pass, we will go ahead and end of turn Ancestral for sure. Because we can still fire off the Force of Negation by pitching the Thousand Year Storm, which is not a necessary card in our deck. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, not bad. We are going to probably spin some number of wheels here. Let's start with a Mana Morphos, adding blue. Okay, perfect. Now we can go double Mox, land, Twister, to shuffle all those card draw spells and counters back into our deck. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we are doing it again. Let's take a peek at what they got. Brawl, Tutor, Frantic, Grizzlebrand, Hole. Okay, so they have the Hole Breacher. This is the card I was talking about. This is the card that if our deck had it, I don't think we could ever lose. It's just so good. It would turn all of our draw 7s into draw 7, get 7 mana, and your opponent gets 0 cards. This is the card that we're missing. But I mean, we should still be able to go off pretty hard here, knowing that they don't have any interaction in their hands. So let's play the Urza. Let's go ahead and Ancestral. And let's play the Soul Ring. Fantastic turn for us. The Hole Breacher is bad news, though. There is a possibility. What they do is just like main phase the Hole Breacher to play around counter magic, though. Okay, so they're going to Brawl into Frantic. That nets them a mana. They can then like Demonic Tutor for 1 mana. They might be able to go off this turn and kill me. I mean, our turn was absolutely fantastic, but if they're storming, then we have a problem for sure. discarded the Mountain and the Grizzlebrand. There's the Probe. So my guess is now they're probably just going to pass the turn, seeing that I have Time Twister, while they hold up their Hull Breacher. I think our best draw is probably Teferi. Assuming I don't die this turn to Storm nonsense. Yep, and indeed, they are just going to pass the turn. But if they do this, we can just spin Urza. No problem. Oh, that's interesting. So we can kind of get them a little bit here. I'm going to Manamorphose. And if they want to flash in Hull Breacher to deny me the card, then I could Chain Lightning, then Time Twister. But it looks like they thought better of that, so... Blue. That Hull Breacher's not good for me. Let's spin the Urza, I guess. Teferi one time. Seagate. Okay, that's not bad. We can double Chain Lightning now. Let's play the Volcanic. Let's spin Urza one more time. I think this is another good opportunity to Frantic here instead. Because if they flash out Hull Breacher in response, then what I can do is... well, I don't want to give them 2 lands, but... or 2 treasures, but... I think this makes sense. I'm going to go for this. Because if they flash out the Hull Breacher, they only get 2. So this is not that bad. 2 treasures, that is to say. I still get to untap all my lands here. And then we get to Seagate Stormcaller, double Chain Lightning away their creatures. I think I will fire off a Time Twister now. It's a little bit scary, but I think it might be correct. Or are they going to copy? Oh, they're going to target me with Ancestral Recall in response, so they get 3 extra treasure. That's clever. They turn Ancestral Recall into like a dark ritual of sorts. Oh, that's fantastic. Now I'm wondering if I even want a Time Twister, but I guess since they have Demonic Tutor, they might be likely to go off anyways, so let's fire it off. Okay, didn't really find anything great, so we'll just attack and hope they don't kill me next turn, which they very well might. Oh, Hull Breacher is so hard for us to beat. Really needed to find our like Force of Negation here. Yeah. Nine cards in hand. 8 mana currently. What's the worst that could happen? Collective Brutality, kill the Stormcaller, deal 2 damage to me, or rather make me lose 2 life, and then take one of my instants or sorceries out of my hand. Okay. They took the Recall, so that's a good sign that they might not have the Hull Breacher right now. Oh, okay. Well, we might be dead. There's the Dark Writ. Reanimate. Oh, reanimate Grizzlebrand, go to 2? Wait a minute. That's not that bad. Yeah, go ahead and probe. You know what I have in my hand already. I can Mystical Tutor for Chain Lightning. In fact, what I'm supposed to do here is on my upkeep, I Vendilion click them, make sure they don't have a counter, assuming they don't have a Time Walk here, and then Mystical Tutor for Chain Lightning. That's not good enough. 2 cards in their hand. 1 card in their hand. Last card, what is it? Empty the Warrens for 8? GG. Now I don't even need to Vendilion click. We know that the coast is clear. I mean, they know I have the Chain Lightning in my hand, so, or in my deck, so might have just been incorrect for them to do that. But hey, we'll take it. They are, in fact, on Storm. They're copying the spell, even though they're dead. Funny. All right. So Storm it is. I mean, all decks in this format, in a sense, are Storm decks. I have to be very careful, though. I can definitely just immediately lose to get the game to a Hull Breacher. So that's going to be our #1 card to watch out for. I think we just run it back. We don't really have much of a sideboard. Go to game 2 here of the second round versus another Storm-ish deck. And that's a very easy keep. Barring any interaction here, we go Land, Emerald, Crypt, Manamorphose, Twister. And just start the game fresh. Well, they do have a decent hand as well, it looks like. Or maybe just a couple cards start. Woo-hoo-hoo, and we drew the Soul Ring. Oh my god. Alright, Tundra into Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt into Soul Ring. Emerald. Manamorphose here. Float red, blue. Time Twister. Okay, we have 2 mana floating. Let's take a peek at their hand. If we hit another Mox, we can Teferi, which would be fantastic. Ah, they have the Hull Breacher again. That's no me gusta. Ancestral. So I guess I'm going to main phase Ancestral here. And kind of brick. I'm going to discard Island and Seagate, I guess. They might just go land, pass, and hold open Hull Breacher, but then I get to go Teferi and force them to play it out. In fact, I get to go Urza into Teferi, right? Oh, no, I don't. I don't have the correct mana for that. Well, it all depends. We'll see what they do. depends. They might be doing math right now. Uh-oh. Like land, dark ritual, demonic tutor, hole breacher, time twister, you lose. What a broken format this is. Oh, they played a blue source. Okay, so no black cards this turn. I really need to find like Mox Pearl off the top. That is our dream. Them not playing anything means they have to discard 2 cards, which is kind of awkward for them. Alright, they discarded Cabal Ritual and Opposition Agent. That is another Seagate Stormcaller. So what happens if I just play Teferi? They play the Hole Breacher in response, I bounce it, and then I have nothing to do. So I guess my better play is just to Urza here. Ah, they had a mana drain. Okay. Gotcha. Well, that was going to get me no matter what happened, but... So they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if they draw another 0 cost... Yeah, now they go Hole Breacher into Time Spiral and I lose. Broken. Broken. Maybe I should have just passed there. I don't know. We didn't see mana drain from them in game 1. Oh, wait, they don't have double... Oh, they don't have enough blue. I lied. They don't have enough blue. They only have 2 blue sources. So we cross our fingers that Demonic Tutor cannot find another 0 mana blue source or something. Cross our fingers. No whammies. Because if they don't have anything, I get to go Teferi, bounce Hole Breacher, and then Time Twister it away. Oh, they just have Wheel of Fortune. So I might want to concede here in response and not show them any information, because what's going to happen is they're going to draw 7 cards, get 7 treasures, and I'm going to just discard my hand. I think that's a better play. Like I said, the Hole Breacher is the one card we really have to be concerned about. And I don't really have a great way to combat it unless I find Teferi and get it down. This hand's really weak. No Ancestral. I mean, it has 2 fast mana, but I can't even click on turn 1. We can do better. Yeah, I would call that hand slightly better. Let's keep that. Let's pitch the wheel. I'm going to go ahead and turn 1 Ancestral for sure, since I'm not even going to have to discard any cards. And now we can go Ruby, Pearl, and wow, this hand is fantastic. Teferi is so good versus them here. We're going to let the probe resolve. Now they get to know I have force, but my hand is so stacked. Okay. Sure. Monolith doesn't matter. I can just go Teferi bounce if I want to. That was a lot of stuff that they did, and not a lot of payoff. Let's bounce the Monolith. Let's go ahead and Ancestral. And pass. Oh my gosh, and now I get to like skydive their Monolith if they just replay it for turn 2. Nasty. resolves. Uptick. Land. Skydiver. Yep. Correctly tapping in response. And your turn. This is going to be hard for them to beat with the Teferi. Assuming they don't have a way to deal with the Teferi. Opposition agent. So that stops me from searching my library, so we do want a mystical in response. And what do we want to grab here? I don't have that much mana next turn. I mean, honestly, I don't really even want to cast any of these draw 7s. I could just time warp, I guess. Right? I don't think I care about the opposition agent. As long as we have Teferi on the battlefield, I'm feeling very safe. Alright, that's frantic. That's a lot of time twisters. I guess I'm just going to discard 2 time twisters. Play land. Time warp. Attack for 2 in the air. I don't even know what I'm hoping to draw. Okay, that's not bad. Uptick. That's probably on the list of the short list of cards that I do want to draw. Attack for 2. Let's say go. If I'm really feeling frisky, I can time twister at the end of their turn. That doesn't matter. That's fine, you can draw 3. Alright, is it correct to end of turn time twister? I do think it is, because we might just kill him next turn. Yeah, that might be good enough. Let's find out. 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8 damage on board right now. Start off by probing. Their hand is irrelevant largely. Let's get frantic up in here. Discard 2 cards. I haven't even played a land yet. Yikes. Manamorphose for the free roll first. And blue, white. Okay, there's a recall. Yeah, let's keep looking for more artifacts. So now we can bounce the agent. Another Mox is great. That's 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. Dak. Mystical. Chain Lightning. Draw with Dak. Discard, discard. Play the land. Yep, and now we're going to see Gatestorm Color, copy Chain Lightning, and then attack for enough damage. So, what a game. We go to round 3. Let's see if we can pull off the trophy with this absurd format. Okay, the third and final round of this Supreme Vintage Cube draft. I am on the draw, but I don't think I can mulligan a hand like this. Turn 1 Preordain. I accept. Our best draw might be what? Mox Ruby for turn 1 Dak? Time Twister. Alright, so let's go Volcanic, Emerald, pass. And go ahead and upkeep the Ancestral. This does run into a Spell Pierce, but that doesn't really matter since we have the tutor for like another anyways. We're hoping that they just play an artifact this turn and not much else. Tinker? No. Mind Twist for 2. Alright. They hit the Expansion Explosion and a land, so that's not a problematic scenario at all. Draw for turn. Soul Ring off of that. Play the Dak. Steal the Mox. Thank you. I made this. You did not. And we'll go from here. Looks like they don't have a play. Alright, that's kind of nice. I don't need to Mystical yet since I have Dak. We can wait to see what we draw for turn first. And now we can like Mystical for Ancestral if we want to, or even just Probe. I might even grab Probe here just for the information to see what they have. And then target myself with Dak. Discard 2. Probe. Counterspell. Well, I'm glad I did that. Now we can go ahead and Time Warp, get another turn. Force of Negation. Man, I kind of feel like now I might just sit back on Force of Negation, huh? Instead of Time Twistering here. I was going to Time Twister and then Dak, but I guess I'm going to Dak here and just see what we find first. Okay, well, maybe now. Maybe now I fire off the Twister. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can 1000-Year Storm into Gitaxian Probe for a couple card draws. And then if I hit another Mox here, I get to Manamorphose and just win the game, basically. Oh, yeah. Oh, they have a Hull Breacher. Not again. Not the Hull Breacher again. All right, and pass. Although, I wonder if they just pass with Counterspell open instead. Maybe they hold up Library and Counterspell. Yeah, looks like that might be what they do. All right, so this is interesting now. This is very interesting. I think what I do here is activate DAC and see if they flash in Hull Breacher. And now in response to Hull Breacher, what I do is Manamorphose, then Frantic Search. So Manamorphose resolves. Let's add blue, I guess. Ooh, okay. That's great. Now I can fire off Mystical Tutor. That's going to double copy. The first one resolves, doesn't matter, whatever happens. I can click on anything, really. The second resolves. We grab Ancestral. Now, we tap, 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 Frantic. Draw 2 cards, discard 2, untap 3, do it again. So now I tap them lands in response, Frantic again, discard, discard, untap 3 in response, do it again. Draw 2 cards, discard, discard, untap 3 lands. I've cast 4, so now we want to Ancestral here. Draw 12. Now the Hull Breacher resolves, the DAC resolves, they get 2 treasures. I cast Teferi. They F6'd, okay, and then we just Thassa's Oracle. GG. All in response. All in response to little Hull Breacher. Okay, 1 away. Can we do it? Man, that was fun. We finally got to go off with 1,000 Year Storm too, so... yeah, no sideboard. Resubmit and go to the next. Okay, like I've mentioned before, this type of hand is just not something that you can keep. Gotta find some fast mana, gotta find some power. And that looks like that qualifies there. Let's keep this. I'm going to pitch the Frantic here and keep the Expansion Explosion because I can either copy the Ancestral or I can copy a counter from them, depending on what I draw here. I'm going to go ahead and fire off the Recall. And now we're going to probe. Animate. They do have Hull Breacher in hand again. That kind of sucks. Well, I guess in that case, I'm probably just going to play the Crypt so I don't have to discard and then fire off Time Twister next turn. Or I could just fire off Urza. I mean... Urza is pretty fantastic here, and it is a fast clock. Yeah, okay, I'm going to get a little bit greedy, maybe, and fire off the Urza before Time Twisting. The issue becomes when they just pass the turn with Hull Breacher open, and then I kind of get wrecked. But I think this makes sense. Because if they play out Hull Breacher, then they don't get to activate Library for the turn, you know? they did activate library. That might give us the window we need to get around the Hull Breacher again. I wonder if they fire off a Mind Twist for 1 here. Ooh, they drew a Mox. Darn it. That's bad news for us. Now we need to find Teferi. I might get punished for my play, aren't I? I totally am. Alright, well, let's spin. The good news on that is that I get to attack here. And if they flash out Hull Breacher in response, I cast Ancestral. So there's a game of little chicken here, because if they don't cast Hull Breacher now, then that's fine. I lose the Ancestral, whatever, but then they haven't cast their Hull Breacher for the turn, you know? I wonder if they're just going to fire off a big old Mind Twist. I guess a red source would also be pretty darn decent instead of just drawing the Teferi, but Teferi I think is ideal. More power, darn it. Yeah, a Mind Twist for 4 is kind of gross. Oh, a Mind Twist for my entire hand is definitely a lot more gross. Plus, they get to hold open Hull Breacher. Oh my gosh. Yikes. Well, this is punishment for me not firing off the Time Twister when I had the opportunity to. Severe punishment here. Oh man, I can't even cast that, otherwise they get to Hull Breach me again. That's so gross. That's pretty funny. Ah. Definitely feel like my greed got punished here, and it did. But Hull Breacher is... This format is stupid, don't get me wrong. It's busted as all hell. But that card is also just absurd. Come on. Find me something good, Urza. I wonder if they're going to trade for the construct and then just animate dead their Hull Breacher. It smells like what's probably going to happen. They pass. Interesting. Huh. And I drew the Teferi. Well, well, well. What do we have here? What? Nothing? Now I'm confused and concerned. Maybe they have a Shark Typhoon? I don't want to attack into Shark Typhoon. My option is to bounce the Urza and replay it, which I think I'm going to do. Or to bounce... Oh, no, I drew click. I'm still going to cast the Urza here. Or I was going to say is to bounce one of my mana producers and spin the top of Urza. But I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're hoping to turn their library back on? Wow, that has to be what they're planning here. And they're going to get punished? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I am going to fire off Click first to see if they have the Shark Typhoon. They have bad. Just bad. I'm not even going to take the Animate Dead. Time Warp. Attack for 1. Hey, we're right back in this. That pumps up our Urza, but let's spin the top. Mox Ruby, okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can put them to 1. All right. Looks like we're going to win this one after all, just because the opponent was drawing such bad cards. All right, they did turn on their library again, but if they didn't find anything, it's going to be much too late. Rather, what they need to find here needs to be fantastic, which, I mean, given the amount of mana they have, it's not impossible. All they need to do is find a draw 7, and then they go Animate Dead, draw 7. In fact, I wonder if not clicking the Animate Dead ended up being a mistake. We'll find out. Do they have anything? Glenalendra Archmage and Animate Dead the Hull Breacher, maybe? Sure. But... oh, they animated Dead my Oracle? I'm so confused. Okay. I'll take it. It doesn't matter. We just 3-0'd, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic fashion, too. What a lovely deck. When this format first came out, I said that I was probably going to hate it after a couple drafts, but the funny thing is, as bad as this format is, it is very fun to do completely degenerate things. Like, again, triple Time Twister, double Recall, 4 Moxen, a Mana Crypt, a Soul Ring. Like, this is such a strange format. Like, it's just fun to do some crazy nonsense from time to time. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this look at Supreme Vintage Cube Draft. Next week we will get regular Vintage Cube, so back to the old pace of things. But I think this is definitely a fun format to try out once or twice, if nothing else. And yeah, thanks for watching this draft here on the Card Kingdom YouTube channel. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.